Hello, everyone. I'm back. This is Mimosa, and these are my chronicles. Okay, so the verdict is in, and Tory was found guilty on all three charges. I came on here the past couple of days, and I said that I believe that he was guilty. Now, to be honest with you, I'm very surprised that the jury found him guilty on all three charges. I have to be honest with you. Even with me being an outsider looking in, reading the transcripts for myself, I'm surprised that they found him guilty on all three charges. I did think that he was going to be guilty of only two charges, and I felt like the other one would have they couldn't have been able to prove it. At the most, I thought he was going to be guilty of two charges. And then what I really thought was that it was going to be deemed a mistrial or a hung jury. That's what I was thinking that the conclusion would be. But I am so happy that he was found guilty. Extremely happy. So what I want to talk about is the tea that happened inside of the courtroom. So I was connected with two people who were in the courtroom, saw everything, everything. And they said that it was a complete poo show. You know what poo means? It was a complete poo show. They were saying all kind of like crazy stuff that was going on. Apparently, Megan's bodyguard that they had been trying to find this entire time miraculously appears, and he wants to give his statement, or he wants to go ahead and give his statement or testify or whatever. And literally the jury is in there deliberating, so of course he can't be able to testify. At this point I said, okay, who got to you and why are you just now appearing today? But apparently there was some type of bench warrant or something like that out for him, so he had to turn himself in. But I guess he was trying to do it right. He was trying to do it as late as humanly possible so he didn't have to testify. I'm telling you what that was about. And like I said, I have my reasons for him not wanting to testify. I don't think it was a matter of someone paying him off per se. I just think it was a matter of him trying to protect his brand. Okay, and that comes with him working with all of these major artists who are in this industry. Of course, he doesn't want to be deemed as a snitch or someone who tells what goes on privately between him and his clients. So, of course, he didn't testify. So whatever. Now, I was told that Tory, while the verdict was being read, he just was kind of null. He didn't really have any facial expressions. The other person that I spoke to that was there said that he actually smirked a little bit when they were doing the third charge and they were saying guilty or not guilty. Now, something else that the judge required was that each individual juror had to agree upon the charge. And not only that, not only the jury, but also the alternates as well. So literally every single juror stood up and said, yes, guilty, yes, guilty, yes, guilty, guilty, guilty. Every single person, even the alternates. They said that, I believe it was juror number 39. I believe that was the number. That was the only juror that it seemed like there might have been a little bit of hesitancy in their voice when they were stating what their decision was while being on the jury. And then the judge asked for the jury to be held, sequestered together. They weren't released yet because it was complete pandemonium inside of the courtroom. They said that his dad was giving out several outbursts. The stepmom, supposedly Tory had his kids and younger siblings and all kind of little small kids. And on the day that he could have possibly been sentenced. If that to you does not seem like this was premeditated on his end, trying to convince this jury and his peers that he was this other person, he was this family man, all lies. And I'm gonna break that down. Okay. Then something that also I ended up noticing, if you all see that there's a video that's been going viral, it's of his dad. His dad is going off. He's talking about Rock Nation. He's talking about how this has been a miscarriage of justice for his son. And basically that this entire situation has been a sham for him and his family, and that people have basically accused his son of something that he did not do. If you notice, everything that his dad was saying was just about the evidence. He never said, oh, my son didn't have a gun, my son didn't shoot a gun, my son didn't shoot her. He was talking about DNA. Let's be real. How many times have we seen court cases and there's no DNA? It happens all the time. You want to know why there was no DNA? Actually, there was DNA, sir. The DNA was inconclusive. And the reason why the DNA was inconclusive, because people had been gallivanting inside of the pool and luxuriating in Kylie Jenner's pool for hours. They were in the pool. And chlorine is basically bleach, and bleach can be able to remove DNA. So imagine you being in a pool for hours. There's not going to be much DNA on your body. And then on top of that, there also was evidence of towels and other things that were in the car. How do we know that it wasn't wiped off? There are other people from his past that said that he's known for using guns and wiping off the evidence. So I don't even want to hear that. Okay. And then there was another thing that I noticed. There's a blogger that has been going extremely viral. I mean, super viral. I believe she deals with her platform is Mob Radio. I don't want to say her name because I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I've seen like 2 different versions of her name. If you look at that video that's been going viral of Tory's father and his stepmom, and then it's like a lot of people surrounding around him, and I mean, he's just yelling and screaming and going off and calling out Rock Nation and Jay-Z and all of these different people and talking about this and talking about the prosecutors, just all kind of stuff. If you go over that video, you will see a woman dressed in all black, and she has on sunglasses, and she's holding the hand of one of the children that are part of the entourage, Tory Lanez entourage. Something tells me that that's the Mob Radio lady. And my thing is this: if you're supposed to be, you want to be considered this high esteemed journalist, and you're not biased, because that is the premise that you're trying to put out there, how you holding hands with their kids? You literally in front of the cameras while he giving a press release. All very strange to me. And that's when I knew that I did the right thing by going ahead and paying that money so I can be able to read the transcripts for myself instead of just going off of what she said. Because she is very biased, and she's not the only one. And like I said in my video yesterday, a lot of these quote unquote so-called journalists, bloggers, they were all lying. They were lying. What they said and what the transcript said were complete contradiction. And this is what infuriates me. And this is really why I came on here today. I'm supposed to be packing and doing other things. It's the holiday. I came on here because there were 2 videos that ended up coming up on my feed. And while I was trying to prepare for the holiday, I'm just listening to everything in my speaker. And there is this woman. it seems that she has a very big platform because there's literally, hundreds of people in her chat. And I'm just listening to her. And she was talking about the trial, of course. And she said, Black men, this is why you have to be careful. Now this man is going to be going to prison for 22 years, all because a woman started an argument with him and jumped in his face. And the argument escalated. And now he's going to lose his life behind this. Am I the only one who isn't bewildered by what the F somebody yelling at somebody have to do with a gun being pulled? Ma'am, a gun was pulled. And it sure as hell wasn't pulled out by Megan because it wasn't her vehicle and it wasn't her gun. And she didn't know what a gun was. I don't care how much yelling you do at a person. And women, I advise you, do not yell, scream. Don't worry your pretty little head yelling and getting belligerent at anyone. It don't have to be a male, black male, even a woman. No, that's low vibrational. We don't do that. We're ladies. We're not doing the screaming and yelling thing. However, how on earth did this woman compare Megan being shot and possibly could have been killed to it was her fault because she was yelling? And that's when I said, oh, this dumb didn't read the transcripts either, because if she had read the transcripts, she would have known that Megan actually asked to leave. She asked the driver to pull over, and Megan had left the vehicle. And then later on, Tory Kelsey begged her to come back to the vehicle, and somehow the argument ended up pursuing again. Megan tried to walk away from the altercation prior to a gun even being pulled out. So I'm just like, ma'am, what are you saying? Listen, I am so tired of women doing this to other women. Let's call a thing a thing. Tory Lanez is an abuser. And he was an abuser way before he became friends with Megan, before he had sex with Megan, before this situation with Kylie Jenner happened, before there was a shooting. He was an abuser. There's been so many times that people have come out and spoken out about his level of abuse. They have spoken out about his gun violence. For God's sake, the man has a tattoo of a gun on his chest. He's sure as hell not playing tic-tac-toe or dominoes. Why would you have a gun tatted on your chest? Same reason why would Tupac have Thug Life tatted on his torso area. Like, come on, people. That's why I will never understand people trying to defend this man. He is a violent individual, and he was a violent individual before this situation happened with Megan. Let's call a thing a thing. There were various women that he dated prior to her that said and talked about his level of violence. And let's not even get to the men he was violent against. The man just got off of house arrest for assaulting another man and breaking bones in his face. So let's not act like he's some innocent black man and now black women are trying to condemn him. And because a black woman lied on him, he's going to prison. No, he's going to prison because he decided to bring his little leprechaun ass outside and shoot a gun. That's why he's going to prison. And it's not the first time that he's done it. Stop defending these abusers. The same exact thing happened with R. Kelly. The same thing happened with him. He went on trial, was found not guilty, and guess what the abuser decided to do? He found out a better way to manipulate the system and to become a more seasoned abuser. The same thing. The same thing. Tory Lanez has been in trouble prior to. You would think that tap on the wrist would have been a reason for him to stop doing what he was doing, but no. Instead, he continued to do it and became better at it. If it wasn't for, let's even talk about the August Alsina situation. And I'm tired of even talking about him abusing the men because this is about a woman. This was about a woman who was shot. But let's talk about it because, people want to put the blame on Megan. Let's be for real. Megan was going to hobble her way out of this whole situation. She didn't even want to even bring about charges against this man. She was literally going to deal with the bullets, deal with the pain, deal with the trauma of it, and let it go. Him and his team decided to push a narrative. Let's be for real. And this is another thing. People keep saying, oh, it's Rock Nation. Oh, it's Rock Nation. Oh, it's Rock Nation. It's Jay-Z. It's this person. It's that person. Oh, they tried to manipulate the narrative. Let's be real. The only narratives that I have been hearing are very, very terrible narratives reflecting Meg. Her sexual history, people calling her drunk, people calling her belligerent, people bringing up situations about her and her ex and her past. But at the end of the day, you can bring up all of that stuff you never heard of her in no situation, beating anyone to a pulp, breaking anyone's bones in their face, pulling out a gun and threatening people's life. You haven't heard about any of that dealing with her. But you've heard about all of that with Tory. But you guys want to excuse that and want to excuse those people's history. Same as that situation happened with Bill Cosby. Stop protecting these men. So many times he had settled out of court with women he had babies with, women he had sexually abused. He settled with them out of court continuously for years. For years. He actually had an assistant who was wiring money to women via Western Union and MoneyGram and different sources to be able to send women money. For years, this had been going on. And do you know, to this day, people are saying, oh, well, Bill Cosby wanted by CBS and that's why they did this. No, maybe because the mofo was an abuser and was raping women and putting Quaaludes inside of their drinks. Like, come on, wake up. There are bad people on this earth. And there are bad, terrible black men who like to abuse women. And who like to abuse their authority and notoriety. And like to abuse their platforms. Stop trying to make it seem as if someone is trying to isolate the black man and they don't want to speak life into them and they don't care about them and they just want to get them incarcerated. Stop with that negative lying narrative because that's not true. What we want to do is bring about a change. The change is stop protecting these black men who are abusers, period. If we can do it with other societies and if we can be able to do that with other races, we need to do that within our own. You know, I just was so hurt and bothered. The outpour on social media and how so many people were trying to blame this woman, and she is the victim. I don't care if she slept with 30 people. I don't care if she dated 10 of his best friends. That did not warrant her to be put on trial as if she was the abuser. And that's my issue. I'm going to say this again. I urge everyone to please read the transcript. Do not go off of what these bloggers are saying. I mean, hell, I just told you about a blogger, who has a huge platform, who basically was with the family holding the hand of one of the kids. I guess she was babysitting or whatever. I don't know. You can't trust any of these people. All you can trust is what you read on that transcript, and you interpreted that for yourself. There was even a girl who was one of Tory's ex-girlfriends. I can't even think of her name. Mealy, maybe. She said she made a post that was a blatant lie. She said that the witness, who's the neighbor, his name is Kelly, said that he saw the woman shooting first, and then he saw Tory take the gun from her. And I'm just saying to myself, what transcript she read? Where did she get that from? Because that is not what that man said. People can't read and they can't hear. Well, damn, reading is fundamental. It makes you wonder then about our educational system, because it's like, how do you interpret that from what was on the transcript? Something not right. So again, pay your $1. Go down online. And I keep saying it, but I'm going to actually put it in the description box. I'm going to come back and edit it and put it in the description box so you all can be able to have the transcripts for yourself. I will be coming back on. I don't know if I'll be coming back on today or tomorrow or the latter, because I do want to discuss some other things that I've noticed that's been going on, and that I pray it does not happen, but has been going on even after the decision has been made. So we'll talk about that later. I hope you all have an amazing holiday. And until next time, this is Mimosa.